Right then, this is a quick road test video, and this is for a Honda CR-V, and this is the 2.2 diesel EX, and this is the automatic version. This particular car is registered AP10NDY, so if you happen to be called Andy, quite a good plate I should think. And the mileage at the start of this brief road test is very, very low indeed. At 30,619 miles. The reason for the road tests, as I say in absolutely all of them, hopefully, is very simple. The internet's made it much easier for people to come and see cars or search cars from much further afield, which is great, but obviously that's fraught with potential pitfalls that we've suffered from as a garage and as individuals. Insofar as, you know, if the car has a fault and it wasn't pointed out to you prior to going, it can be a real pain in the neck. So these videos are critical. If there's anything wrong on the car, I will tell you about it. You know, I'll be subjective as well if I possibly can. You know, we are very keen on our Hondas, quite clearly, having spent years working for the Honda main dealer. But we are, as I said, we're very honest about it as well. I've mentioned on numerous of my previous videos about the cars. So if there's something not quite right, you know, you will get to know about it. The road test is also done on exactly the same road test route as any prospective buyer will go on. That way, hopefully, you'll be able to glean from what I'm driving here. It should be the same as you'll feel yourself. So starting with the engine of the car, Honda 2.2 DTEC engine, so this is the later diesel engine. Starts, as you'd expect with such a low mileage, absolutely instantly. No strange noises, whirrings, bangs, crunching, vibrations. Not that you really ever get them, but you know, it clearly is a low mileage one, and it feels like it. It's very smooth, very quiet, loads of power to it. No warning lights on the dashboard relating to the engine or any other part of the car, but it's a wonderful unit. Temperature gauge at maximum operating temperature now is at a third up the gauge, which is exactly where it wants to be on one of these cars. Engine then runs through into the automatic gearbox. Don't take it as, you know, for granted that a diesel and auto will be a good mix. That's not always the case. As you know, I've driven plenty of cars where it's been quite a frustrating business, you know, driving the cars. You know, lots of turbo lag, you know, a lot of power sapping from the gearboxes can result in, you know, quite a frustrating drive actually. But this is a really lovely match, it really is. Gearbox is tight, crisp, gear changes very quick, very smooth, you know, to the point of being almost imperceptible. You know, as I said, with such low mileage, you'd expect it to be in good order, and it clearly is. Mechanically, cannot fault it, but it is a lovely combination on those two. So I'm just going to adjust my seatbelt up a bit. Hate it snagging on my shoulder. But I've also done kind of what, you know, you should do on any gearbox, even low mileage ones. Did a bit of a static test, just pop it into neutral when it's stationary and just tap it into drive and reverse, and just if there's any delays, thumps, bangs or anything which would suggest internal gearbox wear, but as you'd expect on this car, there's absolutely nothing at all. Steering's lovely, track's absolutely bullet straight, there's no vibrations coming back from the steering wheel at all. It feels tight, it feels taut, but also it's got just a lovely steering to these cars. Again, not always given on a taller, more upright car, but it's got a good old-fashioned feel to the steering. It's, you know, it's nicely weighted, it's not overlight, which I absolutely loathe on cars, but it's very accurate indeed. And on this one, I've got no vibrations coming back through it, and not even a hint of wear in the steering of the car. It really is in super order there. Likewise, the suspension of the vehicle, what I'm looking out for on kind of road tests like this, where I'm trying to be critical, is, you know, you should hear it going over the bumps. Yeah, that's quite right, but what you shouldn't hear is any kind of secondary noises. So when I go over a bump like this one here, there, I'm not getting any sort of clonks, light metallic noises, which would suggest, you know, kind of drop links or anti-roll bar links with a bit of play in them. There's nothing at all. It just feels incredibly tight and taut. It really, really does. Suspension's also very, very comfortable indeed. These are, you know, they'll eat up huge mileages. I've had tons and tons and tons of CRVs personally. They're very much our family favourite in terms of driving. So I know these like literally like the back of my hand, and this is a very, very, very good example. It really is. As you'd expect, you know, as I said, I keep saying about the mileage, but also given the service history attached to the vehicle, it just feels incredibly taut. It does pick up speed very quickly, very easily, up to the legal limit now. Just going to check the cruise control function. That's working exactly as it should. Brake pedal on the car is a lovely solid pedal. There's no vibrations and there's no pulsing, because obviously on automatic cars there's a lot more strain put onto the brakes, and you can find people can abuse them quite easily, but these are all in very, very, very good order indeed. So I'm just going to check the wiper blades as well. A pet A to mine, just as well I did, because I'll get those replaced, because they're going to be, they would really, really, really annoy me. So I found my first thing to do on the car. So I'll get those sorted. Car's very quiet in operation. It's got a, you know, so, you know, what again I'm looking for is any kind of wind hiss coming into the vehicle where it got a damaged seal or something, but there's nothing at all. You know, I'm driving the legal limit now, and it's very, very quiet indeed. Looking around inside the car, all in very, very good condition, of course. Big specification car, the EXs. As I've been driving along, I've had my heated seats on, checking those working, and they're working absolutely perfectly. Air conditioning, absolutely ice cold air coming out, and it's, you know, nearly 20 degrees outside, so that's all again working exactly as it should. But it's just such a nice place to sit. It works with, all the switches work with a really high quality actuation, really beautifully done, and really undervalued as well by, you know, some, you know, motoring press obsessed by heavy feeling this, and it, you know, build quality is where a door goes boof, you know. No, build quality is how it withstands the test of time over years and years and years. And there's no painted surfaces rubbed off these, which you get in a lot of, you know, premium quality, particularly German cars. There's not a hint of a squeak or a rattle from the interior of the car. It feels absolutely rock solid in here. Sat nav on the EX version, nice big high dominating screen, dead easy to use. And then you got down there again a very simple but easy to use dual zone climate control system, so you can have different temperatures side to side on the vehicle, and as I've shown, it all works absolutely perfectly. Car also benefits from front and rear parking sensors, which work absolutely perfectly on the car. So in conjunction with the rear parking camera, you've got absolutely no excuse to bash into a post. You're pretty well protected in that sense. Dashboard, simplicity itself, but nice and stylish. You know, I do prefer this dashboard to the later one, which, you know, we've had a few of. Just dead simple, easy to read dials, all working perfectly. All the pixelation on the readouts absolutely spot on. Auto lights, auto wipers. As I said, the only thing I picked up on the wipers is the blades definitely need changing, so I'll get those done this week as part of the pre-delivery inspection. But all the functions working absolutely perfectly. Obviously, multifunction steering wheel feels as new in my hand. You know, just it's got the leather binding, nice positioning of the grips here as well, where they should be. But it's just a wonderful car. You know, naturally it's going to be compared probably to a sort of handful of others when you're sort of looking around cars of this type. The obvious candidates: Nissan X-Trail, Toyota RAV4, whatever the Volkswagen one is, Touareg, whatever it is, Tiguan, I don't know what it is, but it's a Volkswagen one. Then you've got the BMW X3. Yeah, there might be a couple of others I've not mentioned there. You know, if you want reliability, the top two by a country mile are the Honda and the Toyota. Miles more reliable than any of the others. The Nissan X-Trails I used to love, but there's far too much to do with Renault now in those cars, and they're problematic, and we will not touch them. So if you think about offering me one on part exchange, terribly sorry, but that's a no-go for me. Likewise, I won't take a VW in part exchange, just because of the issues with the cars, too many problems with them. The BMW X3 is a very nice car to drive, as long as you don't go on bumpy A or B roads, because they're an absolute joke. You know, I've had a couple, and they're lovely cars to drive around in. You know, so if you're doing, you know, sweeping A roads or motorways, great car. But if you're going along roads like this, you know, it was borderline a joke. The one I had a 3-litre diesel, and it was I had it for less than a week. Just had to get rid of it. But these, you know, compared to the Toyota particularly, you know, it's just a nicer place to sit, in my opinion. It's more refined, there's more space, it's better finished, and they're actually a little bit more reliable, certainly in terms of long-term durability as well. But not a lot to separate those two, in all honesty. But you know, but compared to all the others, miles better cars. They really are. So that pretty much brings the video to a conclusion. If I've missed anything out in the video, please don't hesitate to call me. It's not by intent of design. I do try and pick up on things on these, but I can't find anything on this car apart from, say, the front wiper blades that merit a mention at all. You'll be coming to see not only a good car, but a really good example of one of these cars.